couple blocks, maybe a block down the road, is Seattle School District headquarters. Behind us, we have T-Mobile Park, and we've got a rather sizable homeless population on this road behind us. What do we need to know about a place like this? When you're going out and talking to people, what do they need to know about what you're doing?
Well, I think folks need to know what we're doing. We take a two-pronged approach. The mission's been around for 92 years, loving his homeless neighbors. We recognize that homelessness, it's not identifying a person. It doesn't define a person. It's a moment in time, and that all people should be loved by us, and they're loved by God. And we're just really good at loving people. So that's what the mission does. We take a two-pronged approach, so to speak. The first thing is we're out here today meeting the immediate needs of people. So it might be a blanket, it might be a hot cup of cocoa, it might be an invitation to a shelter. And then the second pronged approach is our long-term recovery programs. So ultimately, we're developing relationships with people. I think I mentioned this to you before. People are hurt in the context of relationship, but they're also healed in the context of relationship. Mm. So we're out here building relationship with people, building trust with people, so they might take that next step in their journey to actually get into a shelter or use some services that will remove barriers that keep them stuck in the cycle of homelessness.
A couple things I've noticed on our journey today. First of all, we just met with a woman. Her family is getting work. They've just come up to the Seattle area. They were having problems getting services in another part of the country, and we can talk about that in a moment. But actively seeking work, and it seems like they have a glide path to getting out of homelessness. We also spoke to a woman who has suffered from an opioid addiction for years, and she seemed rather receptive to getting help through the mission. Those are hopeful things, and when we often hear about it, it's not hopeful. People are really stuck in a kind of a doom loop, for lack of a better term. What do we need to know about the homeless situation in Seattle here in 2025?
Well, homelessness in and of itself is complicated. Like you just mentioned a few different scenarios, a few different folks that we actually just came in contact with. One lost a job in a part of the country. There were no resources there. They recognized that there were better resources here. They came here seeking employment. They're living in their van. The employment starts, it sounds like, this week. So their situation is definitely going to change. And then the other gal, she had a chemical dependency issue. But she actually, as we were talking to her, it seemed like she was very receptive to making a change in her life. And so I think we were talking about this earlier. Once you get stuck in that cycle of homelessness, it's really difficult to get out on your own. You need the help of community. You need the help of organizations that actually know how to help you traverse out of those situations. So I think pointing people to the right organizations or the right help is super important for the public to know. Like, there are organizations out doing some really good work, like the Seattle Junior Gospel Mission. They've been doing it for 92 years. It's just a great opportunity to share that with other people as well. And then, hey, these are regular folks. They were created in God's image, and they deserve dignity and respect as well. And so, meet them at their point of willingness, their point of need.
It seems to me that government has tried and spent a lot of money on doing this, but it does seem to me that faith-based organizations are having a better track record and are maybe able to do things that a government-based whatever addressing homelessness is just incapable of doing. Am I totally off base there?
Well, I can't speak to what the government's doing, but I can surely speak to what the Seattle Junior Gospel Mission is doing. Yeah, we've been around 92 years, just loving people where they're at, trying to help them make the next steps, the right moves in their lives to get them unstuck from the situation that they're in currently. So, I think that this is a complicated situation. It's a situation that the nation is wrestling with. The mission's just been really, really good at developing relationships with people, loving folks through really hard times, and getting them to take a next step in their journey.
I worry about these people because they're probably at the most vulnerable point in their lives, and sometimes people take advantage of that, and the outcomes aren't good. At the same time, I know I'm going to hear from listeners who go, well, here's that family that came from Arizona, and they want to come to Seattle. You've heard that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. People who say stuff like that, what do you want them to know? Because, look, I mean, it doesn't look good. People are, struggling, and sometimes people feel unsafe. But what do they need to know?
Well, again, I feel like, homelessness is complicated. We could go down this street and we'd hear 100 different stories. Yeah. And so I think what people really need to know is that, when the third grade teacher was going around saying, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody raised their hand and said, I want to go to Seattle. I want to be homeless. It just didn't happen that way. This is a very, very complicated issue. But these are human beings living in our backyard. And it is an interesting spot that we're standing in right now. I mean, we have multi-million-dollar organizations to the left and to the right of us. Yet we have people that are living in their cars right here, hoping to get a job tomorrow or hoping to get free from chemical dependency. And so I think what our community needs to know is that we have good organizations out here doing some really, really good work, providing hope for these individuals. And that, this isn't going to define them for the rest of their lives. This is a moment in time.
I'm speaking to you now. You're not only somebody who has been with the UGM as a leader, but you've also been a client almost. I mean, talk to me about your journey.
Yeah, it wasn't almost a client. It was a client. So in 1999, my brother and I were both struggling with addiction, chemical dependency, and alcohol as well. And we were really a really bad spot in life. We both ended up in the hospital. My brother was in a drug-induced coma. And my family, they were notified by the hospital staff there, hey, you need to come down and see your son. He's in a coma. We don't know what he's going to look like when he comes out of this coma or if he's going to come out of it. And so my folks came down there, and they were really prepared to see Bob, but they were not prepared to see me. I had an abscess on my right side from intravenously using drugs. And anyway, they got me into this small hospital with Bob, and I remember coming to that intensive care unit, just waking up and thinking this is the end of the line, the end of our story, so to speak. But I think I said earlier, that's really where our journey began, our story began. The mission opened its doors to us, and we began, this process of getting better, this healing process. The mission's really good at hiring people who can love people and at their worst. And so there was staff there that could see some stuff in us we couldn't see in ourselves. Hope was there. And so we both were able to go back to school, and we both ended up giving back to the community. I've stayed with the mission and just kind of found my way through different jobs at the mission, and currently Vice President of Program Ministries.
We hear a lot of the advertisements for the UGM on our station, and I think people might be interested to know, when they make a donation to the UGM, what is that going to? We're out here with the Urban Search and Rescue right now. Tell us what that is, but also tell us about the shelter and recovery services.
Absolutely. So, the money is well spent. We figured out how to make about $1.29 feed a couple of people. So the money is very well spent. And, if you look at the mission from the front to the back end, I mean, this is really the front end. This is our search and rescue vans. Most people have seen us going around the city, and, we're meeting people, at their point of willingness. And then we really want to get them into our shelter space. We're running a very unique shelter setting right now. It's called the Inhat Shelter. It's not just to spend the night there, but it's to help people remove barriers that keep them stuck in a cycle of homelessness and take that next step into our long-term residential recovery programs. We do that for men. We do that for women. We do that for women and children as well. We have a substantially good record with our recovery programs. It's about a 72% success rate 2 years post-graduation. So it's a really excellent program. and also provide mental health services while you're in program with us. We have wraparound services as well. We have our own dental clinic. We have our own legal clinic as well. And then we have our aftercare program as well. So it's not just graduating our 1-year residential recovery program, but we're committed to walking with people for life.
And that's the thing. The woman we were speaking with, she talked about how a lot of programs, there are 30 days for you to detox, and then you're on your own. Does that work?
Well, we know statistically and through our schools that our education, that short-term programs are not nearly as effective as long-term residential recovery programs.
And so spending a year with you really healing a person completely.
Yeah, I like to say, you're reinventing yourself, so to speak. You're aligning yourself with family, with community, with God, and with employment. And those things take time. I always say, you don't get messed up overnight, and it takes a little while to get yourself back together. So, yeah, a year is fundamentally get you on the right track.
Anything else I need to know?
Well, I think that, I understand that people can get discouraged with, the homeless population and seeing, folks that are struggling in our community. But I think people need to know that hope is alive and well, and there's good organizations doing good work like the Seattle's Union Gospel Mission. And if folks are inclined to volunteer, we're a volunteer-run organization. You can sign up on ugm.org, or if folks are inclined to donate financially to the mission, they can do that as well at ugm.org.
And just really quick, people can volunteer to go out with the search and rescue teams. Tell us what we've been doing today.
Yeah. So today we've met several people that are out here experiencing homelessness. We gave away a few blankets. We gave away some sandwiches. I think we gave away some bottles of water and some snacks. But we also prayed for some folks today, and we offered them some services. In fact, I know we gave out a few cards that seemed like some folks were really right on the cusp of, I've been thinking about doing this. I need to take the next step. I didn't know what that would look like. So I think we offered some really great hope today, some folks that were struggling with homelessness in our community.
Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And if you're watching right now, take a look around us. We have the Safeco Field. Make that T-Mobile Park now, and we're juxtaposed by people who are living in their vehicles right now. There are so many things that need to be done, and there's no one simple answer, but the folks at Union Gospel Mission, ugm.org, you can find out more.